Welcome to the Shrewdness. We are so excited about this baseball-focused endeavor. As teased in prior episodes, we are doing 15 to 20-minute primers for each MLB team to prepare you for this 2025 season, to help you with your fantasy baseball drafts and future bets, or simply to improve your knowledge as the season begins. From the projected starters to the prospects, we will touch it all and give our shrewd takes on the key to their success. So sit back, take some notes, and enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Shrewdness. Thanks for joining us on another episode of our special baseball preview. We love doing this, previewing all the teams this year, and hopefully you're loving it too. And if you do, please like, subscribe, comment, whatever you could do to help promote the Shrewdness. We really appreciate it. It helps get us more exposure to folks like you who are enjoying it, and hopefully it's a good value for you. And so today, as we go down the list of teams, we happened upon the Arizona Diamondbacks. And as Dex has parentals living nearby, we decided to assign him Arizona. He's going to be leading us through the team in the desert. Dex, talk to us about the Diamondbacks.
All right. Thanks, Jizz. So the Diamondbacks, this is kind of a team that they're lost in the desert and no one really thinks about them
Literally.
much. But the thing is, 2 years ago, they're in the World Series. 2023, right? They made a run with the rookie Corbin Carroll taking them all the way the distance and falling just short, but still. So that's where they are. Last year, they were expected to have some kind of a follow-up. I mean, no, I don't think anyone expected World Series or bust for them, but expected playoffs.
For sure.
They were on their way. So they were on their way, and I mean, they went 5-5 down the stretch. If they would have gone 6-4, they'd be in there.
Yeah.
The thing is with them, they finished third in the NL West, which is a tough division right now, to be honest. The Dodgers are ridiculous. San Diego, they've spent some money. They've got a nice team. And so they finished third with 89 wins. And then the problem with them is that they were in a three-way tie with 89 wins for the last wild card spot and lost out on tiebreakers to Atlanta and the Mets. So they missed the playoffs, but 89 wins, that's a pretty good season. But there were some things that they're kind of all over the place last year. So, but to kind of go before we jump into that, so their fan graphs last year for 2024 was 86, Pacoda 85. And then again, like I said, they finished with 89 wins, so they were above board on all of them. This year, as we look into the projections, Fangraph has them exactly the same at 86. Pacoda's actually jumped them up 2 wins to 87. And then Vegas has their over-under at 86.5. Okay. So I'll answer the question at the end. We'll kind of see what you guys think as well. But this Diamondbacks team, they're not that bad. It's just, again, the division's going to be their biggest competitor, I think. So we'll
start out playing for second is the problem.
Exactly. I mean, because we haven't got to them yet. Dodgers were finishing with them towards the end, them and the Yankees. But the Dodgers, I think they're projected for like over 102 or 103 or something ridiculous. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. So the thing is, they're projected was it 104? Yeah, so nearly 20 games more. That is insane. That's insane. But the manager for this team is Torey Lovullo. By all accounts, he's done a pretty good job. I believe he just became the winningest manager in Arizona history, which probably wouldn't take much, but he did anyway. And he has a payroll of $174 million. The GM's giving him, and they've got a competitive team. So I'm going to go through more of the lineup style and kind of go through it. Then we'll talk about each guy. But at the top, they have Corbin Carroll in right field. They have Ketel Marte at second base. Lourdes Gurriel left field. Cleanup is their big addition. Josh Naylor playing first base for them. Eugenio Suarez at third. Gabriel Moreno catching. Pavin Smith will be DH in the platoon, the big side of the platoon, and then Randall Grichuk will take the other side against lefties. Jake McCarthy will be playing center field for him, and Geraldo Perdomo is coming back. He got re-signed to play shortstop. Okay. So that is their projected starting 9, and we're going to start back at the top. And why not? We'll start at the top with one of the brightest young stars in all of baseball, Corbin Carroll, left-handed bat. Only 24.
Fun to watch.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
I really like watching him play.
He is ridiculously fast. He smokes the ball. At 24, he's in his third season now. He's the 2023 Rookie of the Year when they went all the way to the World Series. But last year, man, if you had him in fantasy, he killed you in the first half. So first half stats, 212, 301 on base, and a 635 OPS. Absolutely horrendous.
That's horrible.
All bad.
For a guy with that much talent, that's really weird.
Yeah, it's kind of like Julio Rodriguez for the Seattle. We talked about him in a previous episode. They both were just god-awful all the way through the entire first half. However, and this is where everything kind of turned around for them too, because the Diamondbacks were way back. And then once he turned on, the whole team turned on because he's the catalyst. Last 64 games, he was the 7th best player in MLB and salvaged a 3.1 WAR because he was negative before that. And he slugged 568 and hit 17 home runs, 17 steals, 8 triples, and was the number 1 center fielder in all of baseball during that last bit. So that's kind of what they expect. And frankly, those numbers are more aligned with his year before in 2023.
Yeah.
He is absolute excitement.
I did like a sophomore half slump.
Yes, a sophomore half slump. And that's what Rodriguez did too, except third year for him. But some of these younger guys, man, I think it's just a stamina.
Credits.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but he's incredible, and you could do far worse than him. I went out to Arizona 2 years ago and for spring training, and he was out signing autographs. We got his autograph, and my little girl, she got it. I was like, oh, that's a good one. Old number 7 there.
That's
and
a
we
great
were living
one.
in Washington at the time, and this kid's from Washington area, so he's just up the road from where we were living. So like, that's pretty cool. Got the hometown kid.
Yeah.
So Corbin Carroll, he's starting him off, and he is exceptional. Exceptional.
He really is.
So that brings me to number 2, and Ketel Marte, second baseman, switch hitter. He's 31, and man, I guess I just haven't been looking at him very much. He is a straight up stud, a back channel beast. He's just hanging out in the desert, not really doing much that in the public. But when you look behind the curtain, oh my gosh!
Yeah, if you asked the average Major League Baseball fan to list like 30 players, they're not getting to Ketel Marte in that first 30.
No. And he was 3rd in MVP voting.
Right.
So he's way better than what you think you know. So in 2023, he was just under a 5 WAR, 4.9, 276, 358, 844 OPS. He had a home runs 25, 82 RBIs, 94 runs scored. Wow. That was 2 years ago. I'm like, oh, well, he couldn't have been that good last year. Nope, he got better. So 2024, 6.8 WAR. And he slashed 292, 372 on base, and a 932 OPS, again, from second base. He hit 36 home runs, 95 RBIs, 93 runs, and topped out at 155 OPS plus.
I had
100
no
idea
he was that good. I agree.
Either.
As a second baseman? Like,
yeah. I mean, he's the top second baseman in baseball. I mean, Altuve is second probably, or I don't even know where he'd go in this year. He's going to be up there, but last year he raised his hard hit percentage from 43% to 54%. His exit velocity went up 3%. So he was awesome in 2023 and got even better in 2024.
Right.
And as Lewis would say, maybe he needs a pee in a cup. I don't know.
Right.
But damn. All I know is he's good.
Yeah.
I'm looking back at his career stats here, Dex. He's been over 140 OPS 3 different years.
Yeah, I know. It's just he's been doing it in obscurity because the Diamondbacks are hardly ever talked about. I don't know. He's just really good. He's only 31. He probably has another couple good years left.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be that good again, but for fantasy, you better be toward the top of your list because he's been consistent too. As long as he's healthy, he's been good.
And like you said, there's not a lot of second basemen that can put up those kind of numbers, so very valuable for a fantasy.
Exactly. And even if he steps back a little bit, he's not going to do 36 home runs anymore. Now he's only doing 25.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good. So number 3. So number 3 in the lineup, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. So he came over from Toronto.
Toronto guy, right?
Yeah. It is. Yep.
Okay.
So he's a right-handed bat playing left field for him.
One of the famous juniors from the Toronto organization, right?
Because you can only have Guerrero, Bichette, Biggio. Right. We need Gurriel as well.
Right.
So as with many of the juniors, though, he left Toronto.
Yeah.
So Biggio's not there anymore. Gurriel's not there. So he's 31 as well. And he took a step back after being an all-star in 2023. His hard hit and line drive rate dropped quite a bit last year along with slugging, which makes sense. If you're not hitting the balls hard, you're probably not hitting the gaps as much.
Yeah.
So he's a solid, if not great outfielder. So last year he slashed 279, 322, 757 OPS.
Still not bad.
18 homers, 75 RBIs. Nothing to sneeze at.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to pay him $40 million a year, but he's pretty good.
Right.
So he had a 2 WAR. I think the thing that kind of kept his stat line up is when I was looking through the stats, he was really lucky on the BABIP. I think he was up like 340 or something.
Right.
So I don't know if that'll happen again, but he was still, to me, less productive than he was the year before, despite having a higher average. It's just singles that weren't doing much and kind of seeing eye singles, which is fine. And those score runs too. But when you're batting someone in the middle of your lineup, you don't want seeing eye singles so much.
Yeah, out of the third slot, when you got Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte ahead of you.
Exactly.
Right?
You need a clutch guy too that's going to hit those singles in key situations. And
yes.
Drive in the runs, not a 2-out single or whatever.
That's right.
Yep. So I think he's going to be pretty solid this year. And again, it's a good start to the lineup. All right, let's bring us to number 4. So first base, the Diamondbacks lost Christian Walker. If you heard our other episode, he went to Houston. So that was a big offseason loss. But they replenished Christian Walker with Josh Naylor from Cleveland. So Josh Naylor's coming over after having a pretty darn good year, like his most productive year stat-wise and counting stats. So he's a big left-handed bat, to only 28.
This is the peak years, baby. 27,
it is.
28, 29.
That's exactly right. So the AL Central champ Cleveland last year, he went 243, 320 with a 776 OPS, 31 homers, and 108 RBIs. So that is a lot of production. So his average and line drive percentage and OBP all dropped from the previous year in 2023, but his BABIP was by 80 points. So that is a massive drop. So you can normally count him to be about 270, 280 hitter. 243 was exceptionally low for him, given his career track record, but he had some more ground balls, but then again, he hit more homers. So who knows? Who knows what's really going on there? But he finally stayed healthy.
Drive in 108.
That's exactly right.
That's impressive.
At the top of this lineup, he's going to have that opportunity again. I think Josh Naylor could have a monster year in the desert this season because Corbin Carroll is going to get on a huge clip. Ketel Marte is going to get on a huge clip, and Gurriel's good enough. And man, Josh Naylor's going to be knocking people in left and right. All he's got to do is put the bat on the ball, man. I think he's going to have a good season. What do you guys think of the Josh Naylor free agent signing? I thought it was pretty darn good.
I like it, especially because I actually really like Christian Walker, and I felt like that was going to be a hole. So to bring in a Josh Naylor doesn't feel like you have much of a gap. You know, you're going down from a defensive standpoint a little bit.
Yeah, Walker had 3 straight Gold Gloves, so that's hard to replace.
Yeah, but if you're going to go down on defense, first is a good spot to go down because, it's not going to be as impactful.
2 steps to the left,
2 steps to the right,
2 steps catch the ball.
Right. Should not be that hard. What I do worry about a bit is, who's backing Naylor up in the lineup? Because is he going to see many pitches? That's the only part that scares me.
Yeah.
To me, Dex, this Naylor signing says a lot about Arizona front office.
Yep.
They probably saw the writing on the wall that Christian Walker was on his way out. A lot of teams, I think, are more reactive to that and maybe can't find a guy that can step in right away. But this seems like you kind of said, this seems like a really good signing for them, and they haven't missed a beat.
Well, they're clearly trying to compete.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
Not saying, hey, we're not going to try to. The Dodgers are too good. We're not going to try to compete. They're putting up a fight here, which is admirable given how much money they're going up against.
That's it. And they're just a tiebreaker.
Found their guy.
They're a tiebreaker away from the playoffs last year, and again the year before they certainly didn't win the West that year either.
Right.
And you just got to get into the dance, right?
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it's a really good signing for them. And again, they got a guy in his peak who's going to have a lot of RBI opportunities.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings us to number 5. So to answer your question, who's backing him up in the lineup? So projected, Eugenio Suarez, third baseman, right-handed bat. So he's 33 this season.
He strikes out so much, though.
Oh, my gosh. He strikes out so much. I mean, he may not have led the league in too many things, but he has led the league 3 times in Ks. So the dude shows up, he's going to cool you off in the front row. If you think you've been a little hot and breezy in those seats, just wait till Eugenio comes up. You might get 9 free waves.
That's right.
So he still managed to get a 3.1 WAR, and he does hit the ball hard when he doesn't miss it, and he hits it in the air, so he can send him out still.
Yeah.
So he's just super, super, super streaky. So between him and Corbin Carroll last year, they both were just trash in the first half.
Yeah.
But then second half, this dude shows up, 256, 319, 788 OPS, and 30 home runs and 101 RBIs in this first season. But last year, in the last 79 games, they got more of what they thought they were going to get. 312 average, 357 on base.
There you go.
That's super high for him. And then a 617 slug. So he was cooking just under 1,000 OPS with 24 home runs and 69 RBIs.
Okay. That'll play.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you just got to do a little math. He had 6 and 31 or 32 RBIs in the first half.
Right.
And he finished with 24 and 70 almost in the second half. That's insanely streaky. Yeah. I don't know. Personally, I don't like people that streaky.
Yeah.
And one of these years, he's not going to be able to rally back. And yeah, I just don't know.
He's 33.
And it's a lot of no contact.
Getting right in the sketchy years, right? You don't know what you're going to get, but
he only needs one more good year, and he could probably do enough, right? So if he does enough and runs into some, he still plays pretty good defense at third base. He needs to be in the lineup as a productive member of society for most of the games instead of just taking, half a season off.
Right.
All right. So I guess
kind of joked about guys like that, and they get older, they lose their power. And now it's like, okay, well, he doesn't hit as many home runs, but he still strikes out a ton too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how the strikeouts don't tend to go down the older you get.
Right.
Just the home runs.
Probably tend to increase, if nothing else. But
that's right.
If his strikeouts go down, it's for less appearances at the plate.
Yeah, that's right. That's
a potential chink in the armor I'm seeing here.
Yeah, it is. So that brings us to the 6th slot. So their catcher is slated to be here. So Gabriel Moreno, right-handed bat. He's 25-year-old. He's expected to be the primary backstop again. 2.6 WAR last year. And he slashed 266, 353 on base, which is awesome, and a 734 OPS.
Yeah, for a catcher, 353.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you really want there. Get on base, and we don't need the world from you. He doesn't have a ton of pop, so he only had 5 homers and 45 RBIs. But what I like and what Lewis would have liked is 41 walks to 52 Ks. So that's pretty impressive. That's some.
Right.
I mean, nobody's Tony Gwynn anymore, but that's the modern day Tony Gwynn right there.
That's really good.
So the problem with him is he had thumb and adductor injuries last year. But
I don't like thumb issues.
I don't either. But hopefully he's past all that. So we shall see. He's really good behind the plate, though. Calls a good game. And he did win the Gold Glove in 2023.
Okay.
So I think things are looking pretty solid behind the plate for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
So that's what they got there. All right. So the next slot is their DH. And really, this is going to be a platoon situation. So Pavin Smith is going to be the left-handed bat going against the righty. So he'll be in there most of the time. And Randall Grichuk will be the short side of the platoon going against the lefties.
Old Cardinal, right?
Yeah.
Randall
Pavin
Grichuk.
Smith, I don't think he was.
No, Grichuk, though.
Yeah, Grichuk was Old Cardinal. But Pavin Smith, so 7th overall pick back in 2017 from UVA, where I am right now. So
really?
Yeah, so he's from University of Virginia. He's going to be playing some first base, too. And I think it's a pretty good platoon situation. So I'll read you off both stats. But
that's disappointing, though. He's 7th overall, and he's a platoon
guy. Yeah, you don't
guy.
really want a platoon guy, but
right.
Versus right-handed pitchers, though, last year, he had a 920 OPS.
Okay.
And so that's pretty good. And a 145 OPS plus. And so you're like, oh, that's pretty good. And then when Grichuk comes in, so he can't hit righties for whatever reason. I mean, I don't really know why. I've never understood why righties can't hit righties. That's the only people you're really batted against growing up.
Right.
But
that's right.
Hey, whatever. But against lefties, though, he just rakes. So 914 OPS.
Okay.
And finished overall against both. So he had a little bit of action against righties, but 291, 348, 528. slug last year. He had 12 home runs and a 140 OPS plus. So really, they kind of have a good situation going here. They got guys who understand they can play a little bit outfield, DH, first base between all three of them, or both of them, but they can cover a few positions. I think it's going to be pretty solid. Sometimes you just got to know what you're good at. And these guys know that they can't hit the same side, but they can crush the opposite side.
Right.
So I think the Diamondbacks got it, and they re-signed Grichuk to do the same thing he did last year.
Yeah.
It's a good pairing for a platoon, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not going to cause controversy because both these guys know they've had opportunities, and they can't do it.
That's
career
right.
records are career records, and stats are stats, and they cannot hit the same side.
That's right.
All right, so Jake McCarthy. This
Hey,
guy,
Jake!
yeah, we got another Jake,
Jake,
baby. If you don't have a Jake on your team, you got to fix yourself.
You're already
You'll
better
get
if
one.
you got a Jake.
Yeah,
for
get
sure.
yourself your own Jake. So Jake McCarthy, he's going to be slotted to be center field. Pretty solid defensive left-handed batter. So he's 27, and as Lewis would say, if he doesn't post this year, I don't know if he will. So he's someone that doesn't hit the ball real hard, doesn't leave his bat very hard,
Right.
but at least he doesn't hit homers. So he's very fast, solid D. Last year, he's respectable. Nothing wrong with it. 285, 349 on base, which I think is actually towards his career high. 749 OPS. He had 8 home runs, 56 RBIs, 25 stolen bases. So he's just
fine. As an 8 in the lineup,
exactly,
that's pretty darn good.
That's exactly right. I mean, he's no Kyle Isbell, but he'll do.
Right.
So
right.
We'll get to that when we get to our Royals episode. We like Kyle. Don't mind Kyle, but yeah, Jake McCarthy, he's gonna be doing just fine, especially in the 8-hole. I mean, anybody that can get you close to 30 stolen bases, that's pretty good. So the next one is, I don't know if it's surprising so much, but Geraldo Perdomo, shortstop. So he's only 25, but they gave him a 4-year extension in the offseason. But their number 1 prospect and the number 11 MLB prospect in all of baseball is a shortstop in the organization, Jordan Lawler. So they kind of just said, well, you're not going to play shortstop for us, top prospect. Oh, and you think you're kicking Ketel Marte off his position? So you're not playing second base. So now you got your top prospect in the organization potentially blocked for years. And so I don't know. Something's up.
It's a very strange signing.
It is. Like, what's it tell you if you're Jordan Lawler? Like, what's up? But regardless,
Perdomo is not, from what I'm seeing here, it does not look like he could jump over to third base and like fill in for a third base type bat either.
It does not seem that way. This dude screams middle infield. I don't know. I mean, I think he plays really good defense, that's why you sign these guys. And he's only 25, so that's not a bad deal. So you get 25, 26, 27, 28, those best years. And he was an all-star in 2023. Last year is a 3.5 WAR. He slashed 273, 344 on base, 718 OPS. Again, not giving you any counting stats, 3 homers and 37 RBIs, but elite contact. So again, like Moreno, this dude was 36 Ks and 58 walks. That's awesome. So he's putting the ball in play. So they just don't strike out a lot. I mean, Suarez does. He strikes out more than the rest of them combined. But Geraldo Perdomo is going to be putting the bat on the ball and trying to set the table and kind of get it restarted for Corbin Carroll at the top. So it's not a bad signing in that thing. But let's talk about Jordan Lawler real quick. So he's been in camp all spring training. I think he may have just gotten sent down, but he's 22, was a 6th overall pick from your neck of the woods, Chisholm. From Jesuit College Prep in Dallas,
here
Texas.
In the Big D.
That's right. So he was kind of racing up the prospect list and going through very quickly until he got hurt. So he's exceptionally fast, great defense. He's going to have either average, a little bit above average powers, according to the people looking into this stuff, man. So the analysts, but he's got above average hit tool. It's just the issue is that now he's blocked, and I just don't know what you do with him now. Unless you try and make him, but there's no room in your outfield.
Yeah, what are you gonna? Yeah,
it's just
maybe they can put that 4th outfielder in. Maybe that's where
they'll play softball with
right. He could be the
this
rover.
guy like, hey, we're playing 10. We're playing 10 out here instead.
I got a rover.
So I don't really know. Jordan Lawler has got talent. I just don't know where he's gonna play. So we'll find out. I guess injuries could answer all those questions. So it's never a bad thing to have too many good players.
Yeah.
But for right now, I think they're probably going to send him back to AAA, though. So I think he starts the year down there, barring injury.
You got a DH spot too, but you already mentioned they've already signed guys that are perfect for a platoon in that situation. So
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great point. There's really no spot for him.
Yeah. I guess it's one of those deals where maybe he takes Jake's spot. Then you lose a Jake. You don't want to lose a Jake. I don't know.
But he's a very good defensive center fielder.
Right.
And Lawler's never played the outfield.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
So what is right? Maybe they roll the dice. But I feel like they're probably better off keeping their dedicated center fielder.
That's probably better. That's probably a better idea.
I keep circling back to Suarez, but yeah, you can't. You really don't have two guys that could either one of them slide over to third if Suarez retires or continues to lead the league in strikeouts or whatever.
Right.
That's it.
If his power numbers go down,
maybe
your next best choice is moving Perdomo or Lawler over.
That's right.
The other guy that will be coming off their bench is Alec Thomas, another outfielder, which again makes it more challenging for Lawler to find a spot in the outfield. So Alec Thomas, left-handed bat, he's only 24, and they keep wanting him to get up there and be good enough, and he just never is.
Are we looking at quadruple A?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I really do. But then again, if he just needs to stay healthy too. So he was a starting outfielder last year, and then after I think the fourth game, he pulled his hamstring, and then was out for like half the season. Then he came back, wasn't good. Then he got demoted. I don't know. He needs to be healthy for one. But now they're running out of spots for him. Now he has no place to play either. So now you're just a roaming fourth outfielder.
Dude, like he's just like does well in the minors and then doesn't do well. But I feel like I've seen this in the Royals many times.
Yeah,
guys just can't quite make that step.
That's it.
Quadruple A player.
Quadruple A.
Who's that Royals guy? Who's Drew Waters? Yeah, this guy's Drew Waters for the Diamondbacks.
Right.
So, again, he's not bad. He's left-handed. And apparently his metrics, he smokes the ball when he hits it, but it never seems to translate into anything. So, whatever. Then again, I already talked about Randall Grichuk, so that's kind of like their main guys. They have a couple other bit pieces they'll play, subbing in the middle infield. So let's go to the rotation. The rotation, they got a gift. Ooh, they got an absolute gift. Did. So Corbin Burns, after doing awesome last year for the Orioles, he just was kind of like, well, I wouldn't mind going to Arizona. Arizona wasn't seeking him. He just kind of came up to them like, I wouldn't mind moving to the Phoenix area. I think he's from this area. And so they're like, what do you want, Mr. Burns? Yes, sir.
Right.
And they got a 6-year, $210 million deal in the offseason. 4-time All-Star, former Cy Young. They just walked into this. So he wasn't even looking to sign anywhere else. He just came and said, I want to play for Arizona, and they found a deal that worked, and here he is. So 30-year-old, right-handed pitcher. Last year he went 15-9,
originally from California,
ERA.
So he getting closer to home, I guess.
That must be what's up.
Yeah.
110 whip, 194 innings. So this guy's pitched over 194 innings, 3 straight seasons.
Jeez.
181 Ks to 48 walks, a 3.4 WAR. So this guy is legit ace. Now, the thing that's concerning again, I don't know if there's other people throwing offers at it. I mean, the story I read seemed like he just kind of went to Arizona and they signed that thing pretty damn quick.
Right.
But his K to 9 has been dropping each year. So it went from 13.3, 12.6, 10.8, 9.3, and then last year 8.4. Now, the results are still awesome every year. So Corbin Burns is still delivering number one.
Maybe how he's pitched 194 innings.
That might exactly be right. Yep. And he's eating the innings. And so I think Prue and I have talked about this before as well. You pitch the contact, you throw deeper into games.
Yep.
And I think maybe he's just gotten smarter. So
I
don't know if it's necessarily a bad trend. I just wanted to highlight it for the fantasy folks out there.
Right.
I do look at that for fantasy purposes. That scares me. But like we just said, if you look at his whip numbers,
low.
Number of innings pitched doesn't necessarily translate to how many pitches he actually threw.
Right.
Because if you keep those whip numbers down versus a guy that pitches 200 innings but has a 125 whip.
Yep.
That guy probably threw a heck of a lot more
That's right.
pitches
Yeah.
in the same
And I
inning.
think that
So
the days of him being a 200K pitcher are probably not there anymore, but
yeah,
he fills the boxes everywhere else, man. He's going to give you wins we read through his defense and his offensive lineup. They're going to put up some runs, and I just think he's pretty solid. So I have no issues with him whatsoever at the top.
They already had
a
good staff, seems
They
like,
did.
right?
And so that brings me to number 2. So Zach Gallen, he's been their number 1 the last few seasons. So right-handed pitcher. I think he was 3rd in Cy Young a couple seasons ago.
I like him.
He's only 29 years old, and he's a damn good number 2. He was just fine as a number 1 on kind of a lower inside of the scale, but he's a really good number 2. 2.7 WAR. Last year he went 14-6, 3.65 ERA. The problem is 1.26 WHIP. That's getting a little high for me.
Yeah.
148 innings pitched, so that's 50 less than Burns pretty much. 156 Ks to 54 walks. And his issue that I looked at when I went back through the last couple of years on Fangraphs and Baseball Reference is his walks are trending up each year. Not his hits. His K rate's the same. Everything's the same except walks.
I hate giving the free passes, guys.
Yeah, and that's what this guy is. He's just kind of a go to first. And it's going the wrong direction. So I think he could be a 110 whip if he would just stop walking everybody. And, yeah, I just don't know. So I think if he finds another pitch or hones it in, or maybe Corbin Burns shows him how to pitch to contact. But he's a really good number 2 anyway.
Case in point, what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, 150 less innings, but lots more base runners.
Yep.
They could have thrown the exact same number of pitches last year. Who knows?
Exactly. But Corbin Burns did 48 walks in 194, and he did 54 in 148 innings.
Right.
So that's just striking when you put it like that. It's just so many more free passes.
It's a great comparison.
All right. So that brings us, every team's got to have your Charlie Harris. It's Charlie Harris, right? Major League.
Charlie's the batting coach. I don't remember if Harris is first name in Major League.
It's Harris, though. I do
It is
remember
Harris.
that.
So Merrill Kelly.
Eddie
Harris.
Eddie Harris.
So Merrill Kelly is their Eddie Harris.
Yeah.
So he's 36-year-old right-hander. He missed 4 months last year with a shoulder. He had a good start, though. His first 4 starts were great. And then he hurt his shoulder, came back, and wasn't as good, which makes sense because he's coming back hurt and rehabbing. People never really seem to come back
in his mid-30s.
That's right. But he did have 13 games started. And overall, he's 5-1, 4.03 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, and 63 to 19 K to walk in 74 innings. So that is just fine. In 2023, he was really good going to the World Series team. So he's a solid number 3. Nothing to get excited about. He's draftable from a fantasy perspective, but probably more as he needs to be probably your 4th or 5th or 6th pitcher. And then because everybody's always working on a new pitch, Merrill Kelly is working on that new pitch.
Of course.
So we'll see how it looks. He got absolutely shelled in his last spring training start. So maybe maybe he didn't throw it, or maybe that's the only pitch he did throw.
Still working on it.
That dadgum straight ball isn't working.
He's getting it over the plate, though.
Straight ball.
Yep, but he's throwing it over the plate. All right, so this brings us to their number 4, who I just never really liked anyway. But I know he had a good year. Eduardo Rodriguez, a left-handed pitcher. So they signed him last year to a 4-year free agent deal. And then he got hurt. Because why wouldn't you? So he's hurt in spring training. And then he's just not good. When he did come back, just got shelled. So 50 innings, a 5.04 ERA, a 1.5 WHIP. Gross. And then 47 Ks to 19 walks. That's barely 2.5 to 1. That's just disgusting.
Not good.
So I think they're hoping they get what they signed him for. So in 2023 for Boston, he had 26 games started, a 3.30 ERA, much better, a 1.15 WHIP, and 143 Ks to 48 walks in 152 innings. So if they can get something like that, especially in the 4-hole, that would be phenomenal. That'd be a really, really, really strong front 4, as long as he's just average. So that's their top 4. And then Brandon, I think it's fat. It's a silent P. Silent Pafat.
Pafat.
He's a former top prospect for their organization, so he's a homegrown dude. He's 26 years old. Some good and some bad last year. And, man, when I was looking through this stuff, it doesn't really make sense. So here's his stat line. So 182 innings, that's good. 32 games started, that's good. 11 and 10, that's records don't really – those are just random. 4.71 ERA, that's kind of high. But apparently his xERA, which is like the expected, was 3.7. So for whatever reason, he was just super unlucky. I think he had a 64% of his inherited runners scored or something like that. It was whatever the number would be bad is what happened to him. Like everybody that he left on base, next dude came in and gave up a triple.
They're inherited runners.
Yeah. But then here's the other thing though. So you know how I like 4-1. So in those innings, in 100 and 82 innings, he had 185 K. So again, K per 9 is awesome. The 9.2 K per 9, 42 walks. So 185 to 42, closed in on 4, and I think 4.4 is the ratio. And I looked it up.
Wow.
So that is elite.
Yeah.
Elite. The 9.2 K per 9 for starters, that's elite. So
these numbers are very, very fluky.
They don't.
Look at them.
Doesn't make sense. Those are the facts. And so I think this guy could be someone for fantasy. I'm going to look at this guy. I'm going to start targeting him in some of my drafts coming up because the stuff's there.
Target, if you will.
A fantasy target. Oh, Brandon.
You don't get two.
Yeah, only one.
Take it.
But he's someone to definitely target and see how he does in spring training. And I have been tracking. He's been doing pretty well in spring training, striking people out, not walking anybody. And I think at 26, going into his peak years, Brandon Pfaadt is someone to target, at least with some late round picks. And you could have some pretty good return on your investment there.
Fat numbers coming out.
Numbers coming from Brandon
That's it.
Pfaadt.
Hey, I'm taking one myself.
Hit it.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so now we go to if there's an injury out of those top 5. So the two guys they have backing these guys up, Ryan Nelson, right-handed pitcher. He's 27. He actually finished with the second most innings pitched for Arizona last year. And while not spectacular, they're pretty decent. He finished with 151 innings, 4.24 ERA, 125 WHIP, and 126 to 34 K to walk. So again, a 3.71 ratio. Very good. That's pretty solid. And a 28.7% K rate in the second half when he did a 3.23 ERA. So after the All-Star break, he really started pitching very, very well. Now, there's not really a spot for him right this second. So barring an injury to somebody, or if they go 6, I guess they could go 6 deep at the beginning because some teams like to do that. I just don't know how he gets on the field very much at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
But he's someone that definitely keep your eyes on because I think he's a viable streaming option for sure in fantasy, especially for those 2 start weeks, if he can get in the rotation.
Yeah.
So he's going to be striking out a lot of people. 28.7 is a good rate.
Yeah.
All right, and the last guy, and you guys might remember him. So Jordan Montgomery.
Jordan Montgomery.
Yep, so he's with the Rangers World Series team. And then, it hasn't been real good since then. So he's 32-year-old left-handed pitcher, which is probably going to help him because if Eduardo Rodriguez does not do well, they'll probably lean to keeping Jordan Montgomery so they have at least one lefty in the starting rotation so they don't do a complete Minnesota Twins rotation of all righties.
Yeah, right.
And I think he still, as long as he shows something, he could be all right. But the problem is last year, he did not show anything. He was trying to get a big contract. He's trying to parlay his 2023 season into a multi-year deal. Well, nobody wanted that. So he did a 1 year with, I think, a player option for year 2 with Arizona, and then delivered a league worst ERA of 6.28. I cannot believe he started so many games with that.
That's bad.
A minus 1.4 WAR. He had a 1.65 WHIP, which is just that is ungodly. I mean, normally you don't get to pitch enough to have that even be a thing. But his K rate dropped, ballooned, his walk rate ballooned. And even though he was really good for 3 seasons in a row, so 2021 to 2023, he was a legitimate good left-handed arm. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't anything wrong with him last year. He just sucked.
Right.
So I don't know if he just fell off a cliff or he just couldn't find anything in that terrible Phoenix housing market, and it's got him all wrapped up, and he's living on the sidewalk.
It's weird because it's not like, I mean, he's 32. It's not like you would think he'd have like a huge fall off at that age, but
no. But I think it at least gives him some depth, and right now he does not have a starting job. So even though he signed that deal, he might be in the long relief bin right now. So We'll see what ends up transpiring. All right. So that brings us to the bullpen. The bullpen, we got I don't even know. So they've got some good arms. They have some good arms. So AJ Puck is someone they traded for last year from Miami in July. This dude's a former 6th overall pick in 2016.
Man, so much promise out of this guy, I remember.
Yeah, a 6'7" beast. But even last year, at the beginning of the year, he was starting for, and I loosely use starting. He was the one pitching first for Miami in the first few games. And he was so atrocious. I think he pitched like over a 7 ERA or something. It was so bad. They're like, all right, this just isn't working. I guess you just don't like being a starter.
Right.
And so they put him in the bullpen, and then he was awesome. Freaking awesome. So then he got traded midseason to Arizona. And overall, 71 innings pitched, 1.7 ERA, 0.75 WHIP, and 88-28 K to walk. So that is really good.
Maybe he's Wade Davis.
He could be.
Maybe he likes the bullpen.
And so you hear that, you're like, well, God, sounds like they got their new closer. Well, they're not necessarily going to let him be the closer. So it might be the dreaded committee. And so the committee would be with this next guy. So Justin Martinez. So he had some saves last year as well because they had Paul Sewald last year as their closer. So that's why, and he's at Cleveland now. So he's no longer there. So the closer's gone. So they're going to have to fill the void with either AJ Puck or Justin Martinez, or that's who they project to fill it with. Justin Martinez is a right-handed pitcher. So I guess he want to do righty or lefty depending on what the matchups are.
Yeah.
But last year he was pretty good. 72 innings, 2.48 ERA. The thing is, for a closer, what I don't like is this next number, a 1.31 WHIP. I do not want free passes with my closers.
No.
And 91 Ks in 72 innings is great, but 36 walks in 72 innings, that's every other inning you're putting somebody on. Ugh, that's not good.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think he just walks too many people to be a closer for me, and AJ Puck showed that he was phenomenal. But then again, maybe he's not good in pressure. Who knows? Maybe he needs to be a setup guy.
Right.
So those are the two guys who will be getting the saves in the first crack at it. I don't believe Lavulo, the manager, has said who he's going to go with yet. He's hinted at Puck, but he's also said Martinez could get some looks. So it's
right.
I don't know. Whatever that means to you guys.
Yeah. That means it's not good.
Classic managerial move in spring training to push those guys a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
At
that's
least make
correct.
them think they're competing for the job.
That's right.
And their last guy that could see some action if both those guys just don't seem to lock it down. Kevin Ginkel was a really good setup guy for him last year, too. He's another right-handed pitcher. So he's just somebody to keep an eye on. So it should be Puck or Martinez. But if not, if something happens, either injury or performance, Kevin Ginkel could come up and take some save opportunities. So that is kind of the rundown of the starting lineup.
When you look at what they've got, so it's interesting because it is a question, much more of a question mark in the bullpen than I was expecting from this team because they look pretty solid everywhere else. So
yeah,
they got to have
three
somebody.
Arms are all good.
They're all good arms, but like you got to make sure you get some defined roles right for those guys so that they know what's up. And it's not like you have anybody who's just like a proven lockdown, this is my closer guy, right?
No, they did not do that for whatever reason.
Yeah. So they're hoping some of these guys step up. But when you look at them, that's kind of the question mark. The lineup looks pretty good. The division's really tough, though. And you got a team that really effectively has been in the playoffs 2 years in a row, even though they didn't technically make it last year. They got their record was good enough to make it last year.
Exactly.
So, now you're sitting at 86.5. You're over underweight. How you feel about that, Dex? What is that like?
I mean, they've gotten there 2 years in a row, and I feel like they didn't go down.
Right.
And I feel like if anything, they probably
Burns.
got better. And you got to hope that Merrill Kelly is healthy all season.
Right.
You got to hope that if Jordan Montgomery's called to pitch, he won't be the league worst pitcher coming in. So, and Sewell was good last year, but not great. So the bullpen, as long as they do something and close out games, they've got the talent. They've got the tools. They've just never been told to do it.
Right.
So we'll have to see what that turns into. But I think their offense, and I'd have to double check, but I am 90% sure this is the number one scoring offense in baseball last year, which is kind of amazing to me when you realize how bad that first half was. But I'd have to double check. Don't hold me to that one, but they were definitely up there. And a lot of it was due to that second half where they were just crushing everybody. I mean, Suarez and Carroll by themselves, and Marte was doing just fine, and Christian Walker was having a good year for him last year. They were putting up runs.
Yeah. You were, so I think, Dex, they were the number one run scoring offense, number two batting average in the majors, and number one OBP.
And when I was going through those OBP numbers, they take walks. And a lot of the lineup doesn't swing and miss. Their K to walk ratios for the batters are
ball in play.
Except for Suarez. He's the only outlier. But you got to take what you can get. And
what's crazy is last year 27 in ERA in starting pitching and 25 in their relief pitching. So they did not deliver on the mound last year at all.
So they went and got Burns.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
I think if they stay healthy in their staff, I mean, Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen's a solid 1-2. And the rest of them, they're not that bad at all. I mean, I think they're all solid 3s, 4s, and 5s for Major League Baseball teams, and probably towards the upper side. Really, if you look across all of baseball for half the staff, they're not that bad. And then the depth pieces they have behind it, Ryan Nelson and Jordan Montgomery can come in and fill in for injuries. And we know you always need more than 5 starters. So the fact they've got all kind of proven dudes even going into the 6th and 7th hole, that's pretty good. So I think they're going to be pretty good. But at 86.5, do I think they will get over again? I mean, I would just very loosely say yes.
Okay.
But man, it'd be like 87.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be pretty close to that number.
You're a soft over.
I'm a soft over, but I mean, it could easily be 86, 85. I mean, I think they're going to be right in that window.
That's where that's where I was before you even said it, Dex. I'm like, they could get there, but it's not going to be probably more than 90 wins.
No,
given the talent still in that division and so forth. And
I mean, but last year that division almost had 3 90-win teams. Again, they were 89 in third place with 89.
Yeah. So I mean, the Giants had 80 wins, the 4th place team. So it's like that's a tough division.
Right.
Very tough division.
So I think it's going to be hard.
The only thing we know for sure is the Rockies are not going to be competing for it.
Yeah, we just know who fit this. Yep, NL West has one position locked down.
We can say that pretty confidently. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, comparing this team to the Rockies is just night and day.
It's a 4-team race for not last.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
All right. So that wraps me up, Prue. Go ahead, take it out.
Yeah, thanks, Dex, for leading us through that. It does seem like they're going to be pretty competitive again this year, and we will see if anybody can compete with the Dodgers. But looks like they've kept pace at least with their team from last year. So,
absolutely.
All right, thanks for that. I think that's it for the Shrewdness for this episode. Remember, as we said earlier, appreciate your support. If you would like, follow, mention us to your friends.
Share it, whatever you need to do.
Subscribe to the Patreon. Anything you guys want to do to help promote the Shrewdness, we'd be very appreciative of that. We enjoy what we're doing here and want to keep it rolling for sure. So,
and thanks to Scotty Morrison again for the intro, outro music. We've kind of left that off the last few times. We just got all excited about this other stuff. But thanks, Scotty. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's great stuff. Don't forget, guys, stay true.